welcome to wrestling and Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. And we're going to do the Raw replay here for the Christmas Eve edition of WWE Raw. It was pre-taped this year. Last year, of course, the guys had to work over Christmas. There's a lot of backlash about that, but they did pre-taped ones this year. And it started off with a kind of like a Dr. Seuss style poem telling us about the matches tonight, and it all rhymed and everything. And I was sort of already worrying because I don't like when they do all the like really stupid stuff around the holiday, you know, the themed stuff. And there was some of that on this show. It kicks us off with Elias doing a blues number, and then he sings a Christmas song for Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. And apparently they're having the Miracle on 44th Street fight, which apparently we had last year as well. I don't remember. But yeah, it's basically like what New Day do with all the silly shenanigans going on. So there's Christmas trees around the edge of the ring, candy canes, all sorts of Christmassy themed stuff. So Elias used a Christmas tree as a weapon. He went to use like a big candy cane thing, but Lio Rush stopped him. Rush joins in the match because it's must be a no DQ with it being a street fight, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. He tries a frog splash, but Elias gets his knees up. Lashley dumps Elias on a bunch of gifts, so he like arranged all these presents together and then like dropped him on them, which was just silly. Then Lashley tipped some Lego into the ring, and they were set up in the corner, and he was gonna like, I don't know, do something, because my stream glitched out at this point, so I didn't actually see what happened. But I think Elias managed to reverse this, and he dropped Lashley onto the Lego, which legitimately probably did hurt, because as you all know, if you've ever stood on a piece of Lego, it hurts like a bitch. Then Elias got a fire extinguisher, and he did the old, fire extinguisher in the face with, the, I don't know what you call it, the gas from the fire extinguisher. Then he sends Lio Rush flying through a table off the edge of the ring, the table that was set up before that had all the gifts and stuff on. And then Elias starts opening up gifts, and he finds a bowling ball in one of them. So Lashley's set up in the corner with his legs spread, and he rolls a bowling ball into Lashley's nuts. So Lashley has basically lost his manhood there. And then he opens up another present, and he finds a cello in there, and he smashes it across Lashley's back, and he wins. So yeah, a little bit of Christmas shenanigans there in the opening match. Heath Ledger gives his Christmas wish. Throughout all the show, there was this thing where all the superstars were giving their Christmas wishes. Apparently you can see more of them on the website. Heath Slater said he wants his best friend back on Raw. Team Glorious versus The Revival. Absolute brilliant stuff whilst Gable's in the ring, and of course The Revival are amazing as well. In fact, the whole match was really good. Classic Revival tag team stuff. Bobby Roode was making them do flips, he was sort of turning them inside out, which was interesting to see. Gable was hitting all of his great moves. The Revival do a great pin combination before Gable wins with a cradle. So it was a good match, this one. I enjoyed it. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable obviously continuing. But Revival now sort of in a more prominent position, which is good. The commentary team said that the wrong man was pinned, by the way, after the match. So I didn't notice as it was going on. But we head off backstage to the B team. They're singing Christmas carols for Apollo. And they're trying to offload their merch as well. Again, more just silliness. Hawkins. It's nice to have a little bit of this silliness every now and again, and you sort of expect it, I guess, on a Christmas episode. Hawkins wants a win for Christmas. That's his wish. Dolph Ziggler says he wants the best in the world. Trophy back. This is part of his Christmas wish, I think. And then he faces off in a triple threat versus Drew and Finn next. So Finn and Dolph team up versus Drew. But then they go at one another once Drew is out of the way. Drew trips up Finn as he's going for his suicide dive, and then he wipes out Dolph on the ring edge. Finn goes for a coup de grace on Drew after a shotgun dropkick. He misses it, Dolph rolls back into the ring and he hits a zigzag. That was a really good sequence, that. I liked the timing and everything about it. Drew does the Alabama Slam on Dolph, but he does it like, he flips Dolph onto Finn. Dolph does his own headbutt and then does a super kick. So interesting to note that Dolph did a headbutt, because obviously Drew does a headbutt. Cover, but the coup de grace, to stop the cover. So Dolph was covering Drew, and Finn hits the coup de grace onto the back of them to break up the pin. Finn manages to maneuver Dolph into position for the coup de grace, and he wins. So Finn is picking up wins all of a sudden. He was losing left and right before, but now he's sort of on a roll. Drew shouts down Dolph during the post-match. When Drew turns his back to leave, Dolph hits a zigzag on him. So, weirdly enough, Drew's sort of been the one that's been getting the brunt of things, because obviously Dolph got one over on him a few weeks ago. B-Team are goofing around backstage again. That's as much as I've got to say about that. They did it all throughout the episode. Then we get Vince dressed as Santa. So Vince is really living up to this whole thing about him. The McMahon's been part of the show and everything. He's been on ever since then. So he's dressed as Santa. He says the greatest of all time, John Cena, will be back on both shows in the new year. Very debatable on the greatest of all time thing, but interesting, because that means Cena's on his way back to WWE. And then Vince announces the women's tag titles are on the way. Brilliant news. This is something that we wanted announcing at Evolution, and it didn't, but obviously that's going to be happening, so that's good stuff. But it's immediately followed by a 6-woman tag match, which is what we don't want. So basically, the Riot Squad have been swapped out for Dana, Mickey, and Foxy. So it was Ember, Banks, and Bayley versus those guys. As always with these 6 tag matches, it was extremely house showy. All the finishes are hit and the faces win. Then the Riot Squad come out and lay waste afterwards. Not a big fan of these 6 people tag matches. Then we get Paul Heyman singing Silent Night, and it made me laugh because he can't sing. Sorry, I keep dropping something. I want to stop playing with that. Then Paul decides to go off on how Braun ain't winning shit come Royal Rumble. Braun comes down, Paul gets scared. Braun puts a red nose on him and antlers, and he says that he'll be ready at Royal Rumble. He's healing up. Natty gives a babyface promo about knowing how Ronda will play their match later on. Then we get Merry Blissmas. Bliss pokes fun at the whole roster. And then we get Tyler Breeze saying that he wants Ariana Grande tickets for Christmas. Then we get Ronda versus Natty. So the story here is that Ronda is holding back because she's against her best friend. She's holding back on her. She's not going all in on it. Natty's acting borderline heel, I thought, during the match. Some of the things she was shouting and coming out with. She gets close, but eventually Ronda goes all in and wins off the armbar. It was a very technical match, a lot of mat-based stuff. So I'm kind of glad that they've got that one done and out of the way, I hope. They're not going to continue doing that. But yeah, interesting sort of side story there during the match. We get Dean Ambrose backstage. He's kind of talking to himself, but obviously he's not. He's talking to us, but he's not looking at the camera. He's going on about Seth. Meh, not a great promo for me. I find Dean's promos up and down. Then we get Heath versus Jinder Mahal. Santa Claus comes through the crowd, and Heath pins Jinder. The Singh brothers attack him, and it's a DQ. So Santa enters the ring. He attacks the Singh brothers, and then he hits Jinder with the gore. Of course, it's Rhino dressed as Santa. So apparently Rhino gave like a full retirement speech during the commercial a few weeks ago. So maybe that's why it was in the commercial. It was a bit of a swerve. B-Team are worn out from all of their Christmas cheer and all their carol singing, and they take a little nap in the middle of the floor backstage. Seth says Dean can't take his heart away. And then we get Angle saying Christmas came early because Corbin is no longer GM. And then we close the night out with the main event of Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Not the most entertaining of main events. Seth dominates the match. Corbin manages to pull out a couple of deep sixes. It's not good enough. Actually, he only hit one deep six. It wasn't good enough. He then goes for the end of days, which Seth reverses into a cradle. Kick out. He then hits a super kick, then the stomp, and Seth wins. So I thought this Christmas edition of Raw was pretty average. I'm going to give it the same score as the week previous, 6 out of 10. Not a great start to the new era for WWE. There's some interesting things come out of it, but it's still pretty much on the level of what we were having before, if not maybe slightly better. Hopefully the new year really kicks it into gear because, of course, we've got the Royal Rumble on the way and they're going to have to start doing storylines for that. So that was the Raw replay for the episode of WWE Raw on the 24th of December, Christmas Eve edition. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like and make sure to subscribe. We're doing these videos twice a week. Adam should be back next week, hopefully, to join me so we can have a bit more of an in-depth discussion. But we will see you in our SmackDown synopsis. Goodbye.